much for being here. I am so excited to talk to you guys about a topic that really is passionate to us in the recruitment department. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Kristin, and I'm a hiring consultant here with Diamond Accelerator. I work specifically in med spa hiring and interviewing, helping practices bring in the right people while protecting the business behind the scenes. Today, we're talking about onboarding and offboarding like a boss. Because hiring doesn't start just on day one, and leadership doesn't stop when someone leaves. So, you'll also hear me reference our hiring and firing checklist today. It's a free resource you can use to make sure nothing slips through the cracks. So, before we go any further, I want to address that language I just said, hiring and firing. It's blunt on purpose, not because we lack the empathy, but it reflects its reality. In this industry, we hire and sometimes we fire. Avoiding that word doesn't remove the responsibility, you guys. It removes the preparation. When practices pretend termination won't happen, decisions become emotional, inconsistent, and super risky for the business, for the team, and especially the patient experience. The hiring and firing checklist was created because both moments deserve structure, clarity, and professionalism. Being prepared for both isn't harsh, it's smart leadership. I've seen practices avoid tough conversations too often, thinking it will just work itself out. But when you're unprepared, even small problems turn into really big ones that cost time, money, and morale. And most practices think that the hardest part of hiring is finding the perfect candidate. It's not. The hardest part is what happens after you and the candidate say yes, and what happens when things don't work out. If you've ever said, they interviewed so well, their resume was perfect, I didn't see this coming. Well, that's not bad judgment. That's missing structure. The checklist forces you to look at the full employee life cycle, not just the interview. It's very real and it's very eye-opening because it mirrors exactly what happens inside these practices. Real onboarding starts before day one, not when someone walks through the door. This checklist contains these types of questions. Are contracts and compensation plans signed? Are roles and responsibilities clearly defined and understood? Is payroll, benefits, and system access already set up? When these steps are skipped, even they sound like, simple, confusion starts immediately. And confusion does not motivate anybody. It basically frustrates them. So here's the reality. If onboarding is incomplete, about 1 in 5 new hires quit within the first month and a half. But if you set people up properly, employees are around 70% more likely to stay for 3 years or longer. That's huge in med spa when you consider the cost and the stress of constant turnover. I've recently had a new hire arrive to day one, so excited. But because there was no clear plan for the first week, we were just going to wing it, see how it goes. They left within a month. Proper pre-day one onboarding would have completely prevented that. So some of the other checklist word questions that I love is your workspace ready? Is their workspace ready? Do they have access to EMR, email, tools, anything that they would need to be set up for success? Does the team know that they're starting? Have they been introduced properly? Is there a clear mentor for them to pair up with or have a leader be assigned to them? Strong onboarding definitely includes dedicated leadership time, clear training goals, and a 30, 60, and 90-day check-in. It's got to be intentional. New hires often decide within the first few weeks whether they're going to stay or not. Structured onboarding can cause retention to go up by 82%. And employees who feel properly onboarded are 18 times more committed to their employer. So another story I love to share is I once worked with a med spa that hired a really talented injector. They had no check-ins and no training, and she left after 6 weeks. With a solid 90-day plan, she would have stayed, avoiding lost revenue and team morale issues. So this is where people have a wow moment with a checklist like we have for you. It shows exactly what your first 90 days should include. So now let's go to the other side of this. Offboarding isn't about being harsh. It's about being prepared and professional. Our checklist includes legal and compliance requirements, removing system access immediately, recovering company property, protecting team and patient privacy, communicating departures appropriately to your team. That is huge. Nobody likes to be left in the dark. Offboarding is often overlooked, but it truly does matter. Nearly half of organizations report that inconsistent offboarding leads to lost knowledge and a lot of operational mistakes, which can cost thousands of dollars in lost productivity and retraining. So when offboarding has been rushed, in my experience, when there's no exit interview, no knowledge of, transfer or any kind of, insight, it caused mistakes that costed thousands of dollars. Doing it properly protects the business. So I'm going to ask you, how ready are you? Some clients work with operation consultants, which makes onboarding so much smoother, in my opinion. Others work with just us as a recruiter, and that's completely fine. But if your onboarding is incomplete, everything we talked about today, documentation, access, training, and offboarding, still has to exist somewhere. So the checklist can help you identify gaps and start improving right away. Many practices realize this is when operations support, now or later, make hiring a lot more successful. So us as recruiters, what do? Well, here at Diamond, I can say that we proudly attract the right candidates. We screen those applicants to make sure they're the right fit for you. We interview extremely effectively, and we try and suggest the right hire and partner with you the whole journey. Operation consultants may ask, well, what do they do? And how is it that you guys partner together? Well, they're going to be our support for those compensation plans, the salary research, the financial structure of your business, training programs that you may need, long-term performance systems, onboarding and offboarding. They can help with this. Because remember, structured onboarding and operations support can boost retention of your employees by 82%, because employees will stick through it if there is a plan. So knowing where you're missing and the gap is solves pretty much all of the issues. You just have to be honest with yourself on whether you need the support or if you've got it. So before I open it up for questions or comments, whether it's about hiring or onboarding or offboarding or something you're navigating right now in your med spa, remember, we're going to hire. We're always hiring. We never stop. Sometimes we fire. And as harsh as that sounds, preparation is what makes us good leaders. So, final checklist mention, if I have to say it one more time, I would say, if you want a copy, Hire and Firing Checklist is available as a free resource for you and your team. It's a tool that can make your onboarding and offboarding structured a little less stressful as well. So, anybody have a question for me right now? Because I know there's a lot of you watching right now that probably have experienced a ton of what I've talked about. So let's get real. And thank you to all the viewers who are out there watching. Our first question, why do great hires underperform or quit even when you paid them well and hired carefully? Well, that's a really amazing question, actually. So I would say, people usually quit because of systems, not people. So again, if they're not set up for success, they don't have transparent talk. You can pay them all the money in the world, but if that culture and that connection is not authentic and genuine, they're going to feel that. Because remember, you guys, these injectors, these practice managers, front desk, they're humans behind this worker. They want to feel like they're a part of something. So They can change their minds the minute they walk through the door and think, I'm going to go maybe work over here because of that whole feeling of not being included and not feeling important and not having a plan for success. Everybody wants a career path. So it's our opportunity to make sure that we give them one. So I love that questions. What are red flags from employers that raise alarm bells with candidates? Oh, well, definitely red flags would be being late for training on day one, uh, not being prepared when it comes to what's expected of them numbers wise, when you're not going to be honest with where the business is at right now, and not being supportive, not showing that if you need help, this is who you go to. I'm here for you. And remembering again that there's a person behind that employee. You have to have open lines of communication. You have to have clear expectations, and you need people to feel included. And if you don't do that on your end, they're going to see that, and the flip side as well. So it's a two-way street. And I've seen so many people lose great people or choose not to be a part of a team because of a first impression. And that is super unfortunate when you know at the core of what you're doing, it's good. So great question. Love it. All right. Any other ones that I'm just missing here? Okay. What question should I ask my injector in an interview? I love that. The first thing I always ask is, what brings you here? Why are we talking? What are you looking for? What's your ideal role? And then what's your skill set? Tell me all about the things that you do really well and the things that maybe you need a little bit more support on. And then go into the specifics. If you definitely know that you're more of a Sculptra biostimulator type of med spa, not so much filler, be honest about that. Because yes, they're similar, but they're different. Two very different trainings for a reason. So I would say ask about the specifics of the skill set so you can compare it to the practical that I highly suggest you do. All right. Let's see, what's the other one? How important are benefits for employees? Oh my gosh. Any kind of stability that you can give to people and investment into their overall health not only makes them a better employee, but it makes them a healthier one. Meaning if they get sick less often and they're healthier, they're probably going to show up to work a lot more. And they know that you value their health as well and their families. But if you don't have it, being honest about what that looks like and the reasons why you don't have it, I think is just as important. I think it's important to just be real. And if that's a goal for you and your med spa is to bring insurance or any kind of health benefits in, talk about it. See if there's, ways to make that happen. And if not, talk about that too, because there's nothing better than honesty. So everybody wants benefits if possible. What are red flags from a candidate in an interview? Even ask those questions, I may be looking for the wrong, even if I ask those questions, I may be looking for the wrong answers. Okay, red flags, definitely even as simple as how they show up. If they show up with their hair a mess, they're in their scrubs because maybe they're coming from their other job or what have you, presentation in our industry is everything. So, can we just judge somebody on one meeting? Yes and no, because the first impression for us, people are trying to sell themselves. Why do you want to work for me? And why do I want you to work for our team as well? So, I think the red flag is definitely presentation and then lack of having a resume that, is on that second interview. If I'm passing off that candidate, I want that candidate to be prepared as though it was a first interview when they go in person or they're doing a practical. So another red flag would be talking me all the time, saying, I've done this, and not really saying we or I was helped even, because that to me shows that somebody's in it for themselves and not for the teams. Great if you're working by yourself, not so great when you've got other team members that want to be part of the success as well. So, and the other thing I would tell you guys too, just to piggyback off of that question, is let them talk. too often in interviews, the clients want to oversell the business and get so excited that they even have a candidate in front of them. But let them talk so you really see if they understand what you need and they can truly give what you need. Because when we cut them off with all the stories and all of that, they're getting to know you, but you're not getting to know them. And remember, you're here to choose them just as much as they are going to choose you. So these are really good questions. Anybody else have some more? Mhm. Anybody? How do I get the checklist? Awesome question. So you're going to go to our Diamond Exceller website and go to resources. And you're going to make sure that you put hiring and firing in the search. But it's there, or you can reach out to your recruiter or your operation consultant if you are working with us, and we'll be happy to send it to you as well. But this is a resource that we're proud of, and we're always updating you guys because systems change all the time. So we'd love your feedback on it as well. And if you put it to the test and you use it and it works, we'd love to hear that as well. So, all right. Anybody else have some great questions? I know we've got some out there for sure. Oop, there's another one. All right. And if you are on social media, just so you know, you can comment hiring on the posts, and we would be able to go ahead and send the checklist that way as well. So many ways to get what you need from us. It's so great. All right. Again, onboarding and offboarding is not cookie cutter for every single person, but the more you have planned, the better you will succeed for sure. And I truly cannot tell you that the clients I've worked with, the candidates I've spoken to, everybody who has a plan and a system that's consistent has always done a little bit better, with retention, as well as getting applicants. Your reputation is known out there, so it's very much talked about. And if you don't think it's being talked about, unfortunately, we're going to have to disagree, agree to disagree for sure. So, all right. Is there how does a clinic separate themselves in the hiring market? My gosh. Make sure you have a strong website, please, because people want to see what you look like digitally. That's just where this industry is going. I also think you need to really exemplify the successes that you've had, and be able to speak to the successes that you've had. You also need to build up your team. Who are the people that get you to where you are right now? Candidates love to hear not only that possible, competition they might be coming into, which is healthy, but at the same time, they want to hear that you love your employees and that you recognize the impact that these injectors or these practice managers, front desk, whoever it is, have on the team. So you can make yourself different because we know there's a ton of med spas out there, but what makes you different is your people, for sure. So get them on your website if they're not on there. Great questions. This is wonderful. Anything else? Well, before we go, I want to say that if you loved this, please join us every Wednesday for more insight into all things med spa. And then, of course, follow us on social media. We are always looking to give as much information as we possibly can. All right. Is there any more? I know there's more questions. I'm sure everyone's got more questions for this. So if you have more, please reach out. You can find us at Diamond Accelerator, and you can reach out to us in any way, shape, or form. We're happy to answer questions. If you're a client, feel free to text us or email us. We're happy to give you some insight if need be. Remember, your operational consultants are there to help you as well. And we pair up with our operation consultants all the time. It's the best duo to get to success for sure. All right. Any other questions? Let's see here. I think another one is coming in actually. Just got to be patient. All right. What if I realize I hired the wrong person? How soon is too soon to let them go? Wow, that's getting real. It's never too soon, to be honest. Dragging it out is what costs you money, morale, and a lot of credibility. So onboarding is a two-way evaluation period, not a promise of forever. So if someone lacks the urgency, the expectations, they don't understand it, or they're not coachable in those first 30 to 60 days, that's your answer. So keeping someone just to be nice because you want to believe in them and you don't really want to go out and hire again is actually unfair to your team as well as to your entire business. So a strong leader makes clean, early decisions instead of emotional ones. So kind leadership, I always say, is clear leadership. So awesome question. How do you offboard someone without blowing up the team or causing gossip, fear, or resignations? Wow, we're getting real. Okay, you can control the narrative, period. You cannot control what people talk about, but you can control the narrative to a certain degree as a business. You don't want to overshare yourself or anybody on your team. You don't want to vent to anybody, and you don't allow any speculation. You have to have a just zero tolerance law, basically. You communicate one clear message to your team consistently that this decision was thoughtful, if you're parting ways with someone, aligned with our standards, and we're moving forward. We're not looking back. When your team trusts that you hire with intention and fire with fairness, they actually feel a lot safer and not as scared. So silence and avoidance create fear. Calm clarity brings trust. So your team doesn't need details. They need confidence. So what if the problem isn't the employee, it's the onboarding process itself? Well, we kind of touched a little bit on that, but this is a question most leaders avoid, actually, and it's usually the right one to ask. So if you're constantly frustrated, retraining, or losing people in the first 90 days of hiring them, that again is not a people problem. That's a systems problem. So great onboarding removes the guesswork, sets clear expectations, and shows someone how to win fast. So when onboarding is weak, even great hires will fail. And then leaders blame the wrong thing, to be honest. So if everyone keeps failing in the same place, look at the system, not the person. These are all really great. All right. And again, if this brought up challenges, just talking about these and seeing what some other people are asking, and you're facing some of these challenges yourself, that's the work we do every day here at Diamond Accelerator is to help attack those kinds of challenges head on. We work together to help leaders build strong teams, make confident decisions, and handle onboarding and offboarding the right way. Reach out to us again anytime. We'd love to continue the conversation and support you with where you are going when it comes to onboarding and offboarding and retaining your employees. So thank you so much for being here. I absolutely love being able to give you some insight into recruitment.